Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of the 2013 version of The Great Gatsby. This movie is directed by Baz Luhrmann, who previously directed Moulin Rouge and Romeo and Juliet. The movie stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Carey Mulligan, Tobey Maguire, and Joel Edgerton. When I first heard they were remaking the classic F. Scott Fitzgerald story, I only wanted two things from it. One, I didn't want the movie to be boring. And two, I wanted a good remake. Since The Great Gatsby is a movie that's been remade over and over again over the years, I wanted something good like the most recent version of Les Miserables, and not something bad like the most recent version of Three Musketeers. And even though this movie still has the classic story deep down inside, it wasn't boring because it's got a lot of glitz and glamour to it. Let me start with the acting in this movie. Tobey Maguire is Nick Carraway. He did a good job. This character was neutral, so I really felt that since he wasn't one way or the other, too mean or too nice, that his character could have been played by anybody around that age, but I liked that it was Tobey Maguire because him and Leonardo DiCaprio were best friends in real life. And then you have Carey Mulligan as Daisy Buchanan. Carey Mulligan's a good actress. Just her role as Daisy, I felt Daisy was like snooty, and she felt like the world revolved around her because she always seemed to have her way in the movie. And then you have Joel Edgerton as Tom Buchanan. Great job. Joel Edgerton has really come a long way. He's a good actor. And you even have side characters such as Jason Clarke as Wilson the Mechanic and Isla Fisher as Myrtle. This movie had perfect casting. Everyone was good in their roles. And then, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio as Jay Gatsby. He had the charisma, the look, even the way he spoke. Everything was good. This guy can do no wrong. And as far as the actual story goes, I said it was the classic story. And it is. The story is in there. But it's like they amplified everything to make it brighter and more colorful and louder and more, not modern, but they're like, hey, we have 2013 technology, so we're going to use it. Oh yeah, we have some awesome songs that we're going to remix into 1920s songs to make it more modern and more exciting and more hip, so we're going to do that as well. I do have to tip my hat to Baz Luhrmann for doing a couple little things in the movies that he didn't have to, that he really could have overlooked, but he did anyways, and that's the small details. He took things from the book and he put them in the movie, whether it was literal text appearing on screen or small things like the scene where Tom is at the dinner table when he first meets Nick, and he talks about how he hates the word hulking, or even the molars on Meyer Wolfshire's clothing. And even at the end, the reason why the gardener wanted to drain the pool. Just small things that I'm like, okay, they didn't have to put that in there, but I'm impressed that they did. Now, biggest problem I had with the movie was something that Baz Luhrmann did in Moulin Rouge, and that's the fast cuts. The first 10 minutes of this movie has so many fast cuts that the audience really didn't have time to catch their breath because everything was going so quick. Like when a character goes to meet another character, like the camera goes with them, but it speeds up. Or something is done really fast and you're like, okay, I know what just happened, but I can't really enjoy it because it was too fast for me. Not only did he use fast cuts, but he seemed to exaggerate a bit, and he used a lot of CGI. This movie flip-flopped between a Zack Snyder movie with all the CGI and a Dick Tracy, where everything's bright and colorful, yet practical. And because of that, he also exaggerated a bit as well. Like the scene where Nick Carraway gets drunk for the second time. Like, he could have taken that scene and just made it, okay, he takes a couple sips and gets drunk next scene. But no, he wanted to make that whole scene like an acid trip, where everything was colorful and in your face and like a crazy, out-of-control party. And the other scene is where Jay and Nick are going down the street, roaring in his big yellow car. A scene that was like, okay, am I watching Great Gatsby set in the 20s, or am I watching Speed Racer? Because it was just really loud and really filled with CGI, and because it was so quick, it hurt the editing. You'd have characters talking amongst one another, but then they would cut to the scene of the car swerving in and out between other cars, and their lips wouldn't be moving. Or they would be, but they'd be totally out of sync. And it hurt the movie. And because of all of that stuff, half of the movie is really exciting and up here, and then when the actual story starts to shine through, that's when it slows down and the story comes through, and you can actually enjoy it more. Even though this movie wasn't set in modern times like Romeo and Juliet was, this movie was modernized. You had a modernized soundtrack with today's artists. You had modern actors who did really good jobs. You had all this CGI and special effects that were not only loud and vivid and eye-opening, but they also made the movie exciting and the story flow. This movie was even presented in 3D. But amongst all that, the true story, The Great Gatsby, was still there, and that's all that matters. So I'm going to give The Great Gatsby a C+. I thought it was a little over the top at the beginning, but all in all, the story was there and it was acted well. Man, I just kind of wish that, for those of you that had to read it in high school like I did, I wish this was the version. Till next time, see ya, old sport.